Good morning, Diesel here, downtown Aurora, doing my second favorite thing, drinking coffee. I do that every day right after I tune in to Good Morning Aurora.
Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. The time is now 6:38 a.m. You are listening to Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. Hello, everybody. It is Friday. We made it. It is the 18th of June, 2021. We've got some news, and as you know, today is the day for Jeanette's Splaining. We're about to go live on Facebook and YouTube here at 8 a.m. Keep tuning in. We appreciate all of our fans, listeners, and subscribers out there. Heck of a positive week. Got to say that. A lot of things happened this week and a lot more to come. So continue to stay tuned with us. We really, really, really appreciate it. Tomorrow the 19th, starting at 3:30 p.m., is the Freedom and Heritage Celebration, One Nation, presented by the African American Men of Unity. This will be held at Martin Luther King Park on Farnsworth and Grand on the east side. Admission is free. There will be food, a moon jump, face painting, vendors, and even a talent contest. Be sure to join the parade. Special shouts out and thank you to the African American Men of Unity, the African American Heritage Advisory Board, and the City of Aurora. Yesterday was the hiring event at the King County Sheriff's Office, 37 West 755 Illinois Route 38 in St. Charles. It was from 1 to 4 p.m. and I have to say, people got jobs yesterday. I kept telling you that you could get a job, and if you went, you might have got one, and if you did not, you sure did not. So shouts out to our friends of the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Judy Dawson, what is up? Free paper shredding for residents of Aurora Wards 4, 5, and 6 will take place tomorrow, Saturday the 19th, from 8 to 11 a.m. at Jefferson Middle School. That's located at 1151 Plum Street in Aurora. Up to 5 banker boxes of canceled checks and other documents per person will be accepted. Bags of donations will also be accepted as well. Documents. Haha. Please remove binders and large clips. The co-sponsors of this great event are Bill Donnell, the Alderman of the 4th Ward, and 5th Ward Alderman Carl Franco. Call 630-256-3020 for more information. That number again is 630-256-3020. Last but not least, get ready for next Monday. Our state representatives, Stephanie Kifowit, Barbara Hernandez, and Keith Wheeler, are partnering with the Kane Senior Council and St. Athanasius Greek Orthodox Church to provide free frozen meals to seniors once a month from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on prescribed Mondays during the summer at St. Athanasius, which is located at 1855 5th Avenue in Aurora. The next date after Monday the 21st will be July 12th. After that will be August 16th and September 13th. Shouts out to our wonderful elected representatives. Last but not least, Harry Beast Dog Parlor. Get ready, July 25th. That's a Sunday. I will be on scene for this, 215 West Galena Boulevard. Come out and help celebrate the 3-year anniversary of our friends and their great business from noon to 5 p.m. Food, cars, and really cool people. Shouts out. All right. And that is the news. All right. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to see you guys. All right. For our listeners and our viewers, let us know who you guys are and where you're from.
Jorge Ortega with Ortega Brothers, LLC.
Okay.
Producers of the Gran Festival Colombiano in Chicago and in Miami.
All right.
Officer Ortega, I'm out of Gran because it's the same with him, but also from Chicago. Also Marine veteran, and also a member of the Chicago Police Department.
All right. We got Marines on the show. This has only happened, it's only happened twice, I think. Had some Army guys on the show and a couple of Navy vets. So, all right, good to have a Marine on our show today. So, for those who are unfamiliar, El Gran Festival Colombiano. That's what we're going to be talking about today and everything. Give us a little bit, for those who are unfamiliar, with what it is. What kind of festival is it? Talk about it just a little bit.
El Gran Festival Colombiano, also known in English as the Colombian Fest, Chicago. It's in its sixth year, 6.5 because we didn't do nothing due to the pandemic.
Right.
We were shut down in 2020. So we're back, the festival's back in Chicago at Humboldt Park in a new location, a little bit bigger location. July 24th and 25th. You can find information on our website, colombianfestchicago.com. That's the basic gist of the festival, and it's to celebrate the Colombian Independence Day, which is the official day is July 20th.
Okay, all right. Now, you guys are born and raised in Chicago.
I was born in Barranquilla, Colombia,
Okay,
and raised in Chicago.
all right.
Yeah, I was first generation here. Since my parents migrated in the early 70s, and that's when decided to make a child here in the United States.
Okay. What's the story of the Colombian immigrant, the Colombian migrant to America? Is it different from other Latino experiences and groups?
Yes, the migration of the Colombians in Chicago. I came. I was brought here with my folks, my parents. My dad came first. That's usually how it happens. The father figure or the male figure, comes out and ventures out. So there was a group of men that came from Colombia in the late 60s.
Wow.
Late 60s, as our family came in that era. But overall, the Colombian population, there was a small group of people that came in the earlier part of the 60s.
Okay.
The main migration happened in the 70s. And then in the 80s, you had a big influx of Colombianos coming to the United States and Chicago when in the 80s we had a lot of violence going on in Colombia at the time. We had some civil wars going on with paramilitaries, FARC, and so forth. And that violence of that Pablo Escobar era, that led a lot of people to leave. So a lot of families came to the United States. The first port was sort of Miami, but Chicago always had a strong presence early on. So that's why a lot of people migrated to Chicago, because there was already a small enclave of Colombians here in Chicago.
Okay.
In the 70s.
Okay. So now, what was life like for yourself growing up, being young Colombiano? Elvis, tell us first, and then we'll talk about what life was like for you, being Colombiano as well.
Growing up, we grew up in Humboldt Park. That's where our family landed. And the tradition stood in the house, for sure. I was always speaking Spanish in the house. We didn't speak English until we went to school. And then the music, the culture, and you grew up pretty much knowing everything about what is about Colombia. Then, of course, growing up here, and you're right, people see us speaking Spanish, and then they think, oh, well, you guys speak Spanish. We thought you guys were, African Americans. We're like, no, we're Colombians, and educating people about different Latinos, because a lot of times here, historically, it's like they think you're Puerto Rican or Mexican. And then now there are Dominicans, there's Cubans, there's Colombians, there's whole South and Central America.
Right.
But like I said, growing up was always can't even say small, it was a big group, big family group. Like I said, my mother said about all the Colombians that came here in the 70s and early 60s. So they all pretty much stood together, play soccer traditionally.
Soccer's the sport, right?
Yeah,
That's
football, that.
Football, yeah.
So that was huge. We used to always go down to by Wilson Beach, by Montrose.
Okay, yep.
There's always big soccer tournaments over there during the summer, and then you see a lot of pretty much everybody that came to Chicago from different parts of the of Central and Latin America. So
Are you the younger brother?
I'm the youngest of four. Yes.
Okay, all right. What high school did you go to?
I went to Amundsen.
Okay, all right. Where'd you go to school?
Calvin Park.
All right, all right. So now, what year did you graduate high school?
93.
And yourself?
Well, it was a long time ago.
A long time.
I'm a class of 85.
Okay.
Class of 85 from Calvin Park.
Being young Colombianos in that area at that time, you mentioned family and the tight-knit structure in the household. What was it like with other people? Did you have to, were Colombianos treated good historically in the city? And by good, I mean like in all aspects. Was it easy to find a job? That kind of thing. Employment, that type of stuff.
I think that, that our family structure, it was in when we first came here, I remember like our house was like the house everybody came to, it seemed like, because my dad was a very popular guy. He played really good soccer. He was one of the first players and to organize the soccer leagues here in here in Chicago.
Okay.
My dad ended up playing for some other teams, and they started at Junior de Barranquilla, the Chicago team, which was one of the first Colombian teams named after a city that was established here in Chicago.
Oh, interesting.
And then there was other teams that came along, but our family was always, united, and my dad being a popular guy, everybody sort of gravitated towards our house. And then back then it was like, when we lived in Oakland Park, all the Colombians that ended up coming, after us, they always sort of stopped at our house. They knew my dad, and my dad was very friendly. And I think that back then, it was a little bit, I think, I remember experiencing a lot of racism, in the beginning. And then in the school system that, I went to public school, and there was a lot of, I went through a lot of challenges. And the schools at the time in the 70s, they didn't know what to do with us. You guys spoke Spanish, you look our African descent. Sure. Like my brother said, we had to educate a lot of people along the way because, the African diaspora is very huge, and the education system here, unfortunately, did not teach a lot of that history.
Right.
The history of, there was millions of slaves that were brought to Colombia, the port of Cartagena. From there, they dispersed all through South America to work in the sugar canes and the coffee plantations and all that stuff. So, being Afro-Colombian, our identity, that's part of our identity. We have, African blood, Spanish blood, indigenous blood, all mixed in. And a lot of the Latinos have that same mix, and then that's why there was a thing that we were saying that the banana, el plátano, if you look at the cuisine of everything in the Caribbean and in Colombia, there's you find one version of the different menus
all throughout.
Yep. So it was like the term was plátano power. Hey, that's what we ate. I remember when I was growing up, that's what my mom would tell me. Hey, that's what I would feed you. Over there, we didn't have formula. You don't have all these expensive formulas that you have here.
No Gerber graduates and all that.
You liquefy the banana, and that was with milk, and that was it. That was your food. That was your substance.
So I like the history, and I'm glad that we're talking the historical parts of this too, because You know, I look at pictures of Chicago in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the neighborhoods are not the same. Different cultures and different things like that. Now we hear words like gentrification and things like that, right? Where now the neighborhoods are kind of going and changing and everything like that. So one of the reasons why I'm interested in this interview and doing this is because like I like the authenticity of, you know, cultures to still stay. You know what I mean? I believe the sandbox is wide enough for everybody, kind of thing. And we're going to get more into the festival itself. Growing up, what impact did your mom have in you guys' life?
Well, I think my mom, bless her soul, we still have her with us. She was a strong woman, and she's the patriarch of the family, because I think that our family grew. My mom was the first of her side of the family to come with my dad, right? So most of our family, 90% of our family, came from my mom's side. That's
Okay.
here in Chicago. On my dad's side was a very smaller family. My mom had 5 siblings, and one by one, the immigrant story is like, my mom came, she became a citizen. She asked for my grandmother. My grandmother came, she became a citizen, and then she brought her other siblings.
Right. Yep.
And so we always had a family. My uncles and aunts, and when they came here, our family started growing. So that's why I always said our family's huge, because when we do a gathering, we say family, that's 30 plus people on any given day.
Yeah.
Small little parties is a big production.
I've had the pleasure of being to a few barbecues and family events out in Humboldt Park. So I know what you're talking about. You're like the whole backyard, music, you can hear it from way over there. You can smell the food from whatever. So
yeah.
that is it's a good feeling.
And I think my mom instilled, really great values in us. And those values and those traditions is that we passed on to the festival and to our company. We're a family-based company, Ortega Brothers, like it is as brothers. But my sister's involved in there too. She gets on about us on that.
Mm-hmm.
It should be Ortega Brothers and sisters. So, but,
Like why you leaving me out?
Yeah. But my mom, she kept those traditions. The cooking was a big part of our family.
Okay.
And my mom, made the big soups.
Okay,
The arepas.
we're gonna talk about food. Hold on, brother. We go get to the food. I wrote that in here especially because the cuisine or Colombian is Colombia. Is that considered Central America or South America?
South America.
South America. Okay, so we're gonna get to the South American cuisine definitely. Elvis, so you graduated in the '90s.
Yes.
What was your first job out of high school?
Well, I started working in high school.
Okay.
So I actually, because of Brother George, started working at a young age, at 12, maybe even younger, passing out the newspapers, wrap them up, put the rubber band, pass them out the neighborhood.
Okay.
And then even when Domino's first started, we worked for Domino's, passing out flyers and putting stuff on the doors. Got paid in pizza, I think. So we were all kids back then.
Right.
They used to,
Nah, you don't need money. Pepperoni, bro.
we'll take a couple of pizzas to go.
Right.
But then in high school, started working at a temp agency. We used to drive down with my cousin. We drove down for was it $5 an hour?
Wow.
$4 an hour actually, all the way to Burlington
Wow.
from right after high school.
Okay.
So I always tell the story that we had a Toyota. It was a convertible, had no top. Even in winter, we'd drive it down just to work.
Really?
Yeah.
Dedicated.
But those are the values, like I said, was installed in us from our parents that every Monday through Friday, religiously, they'll go to work.
Right. Right.
So it was like, and actually out of high school, the first job I had is working in the factory with my parents.
Wow.
They got me in the factory. My brother, so we always, Warner Ladder was called.
Warner Ladder.
The ladder company, Warner.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was in Franklin Park. So we always joke about that because a whole bunch of us, like my generation, our cousins, we all went through there too.
Right.
So, they got us in the factory to work. But that was pretty much it. I was there right after high school, and then that's when I decided, I got to go beyond this factory, right? Because my parents started that, so I got to take it up another level.
Yeah, I'm just a quick note, just to interject with my brother. When I was in high school and I was actually I was graduating. And I went to apply to the same factory where my mother works. And I went to my mom's boss at the time, went over there, got, suited up, went to get a job.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said, he was like, he told my mom, he says, listen, your son's too smart to be here. And he goes, I don't want him to be in this factory and that's all he's gonna do. He's got bigger talents that he can do. So it was a rejection because I didn't get the job. But at the same time, it was a push for me to continue my schooling and go to college and finish college and become a professional. I was the first of my generation of the Ortega Llanos family to actually graduate from college. So being that became it took me 5 years to get out of Columbia College downtown. I worked my way through. Like my brother said, we all, it was funny because the jobs that I had, eventually I would pass it down to my brothers and cousins.
Really?
I started out the newspaper, and then, once I went to the next level, these guys started passing out. And then also, when I started working for the promoter, this one of the first Latino promoters here in Chicago at the time, Carnival Fernandez and Associates. They were the first big Latino promoters that were bringing Latino artists to the States and Chicago. So I got in there and I bugged them and I got in there to work the summers.
Okay.
When I was in college. So when I graduated from college, I went in there and ended up staying full time, and I worked for like 14 years with them. We toured, the company became huge. But in those summers, I would hire, the local friends from the block, my brothers, my cousins, for those odd jobs that I used to work.
Right.
Passing out flyers, cleanup, the cleanup, running, product and working the festivals.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's how, we grew together,
Now so you're talking about working festivals and everything, and I want to remind anybody listening or watching that this was before social media, right? So you couldn't just take a picture, put a couple hashtags, and then boom, that's marketing, right? You're talking about being there and putting out the word and going places and actually foot traffic that's what it looked like, right?
Yeah. I think when marketing back then, I remember it was just event marketing. That word just started.
Okay.
Nobody knew what the hell that was.
Right.
And back then, you had big companies. How do I get to these people?
Right.
So those the first festivals in Chicago, if you guys remember, it was like Navy Pier.
Yep.
Olive Park. So right after the Chicago Fest happened, and then when I forgot what the mayor was at the time, but Mayor Byrne, I think she won.
Jane Byrne.
So when Daley came in, then things started when they started doing more festivals. But there was a festival series in downtown before Millennium Park and all that. So you had an ethnic festival series that we shared. I had the honor to work in that festival series and move my way up. So you had the Italians, had the Italian Fest, the Polish Fest. You had the World, it was like an African American World Music Fest.
Yeah, yep.
They have that. We had.
I think my dad met my mom. Something like that, yeah. That's a memory, though. My dad talked, boy, you don't even know about the Earth, Wind, and Fire?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they would bring those groups.
Yeah.
They would bring like reggae groups and soul groups. And then you had the Pan American Fest, which was, lasted like 14, 15, 16 years. And that was one of the first multicultural festivals that happened.
Right.
So I wasn't part of that team that grew it and worked it. And then there was the Mexican Fest. So, you had 5 or 6 festivals.
Right.
But, it couldn't sustain itself. And after a while, everybody split up. And everybody went back into the neighborhoods because it was getting too costly to do those events downtown. And then downtown, when they switched the land that you have now, which is the museum campus. This was before that. People probably don't even remember the old S-curve when they switched Lakeshore Drive to the other side.
Oh, wow.
So that's where the festivals were, in this plot of land, which is, part of Grand Park now and the museum campus.
Right. Oh, wow.
So we had to move out of there because there was no more space.
For you, Jorge, you were in so once you basically started within the festival series, you stayed in that series or in that industry.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that was my major. My major it was a little complicated because at the time at Columbia College, I did a sound engineering program.
Got it. Okay.
It wasn't a major, so I did sound engineering for 2 years. But my main goal was to learn everything about event production, from sound, lighting. And then the management program, I moved into the management program, which at the time was called AMP. It was called Arts Media Film Management Program.
Okay.
So this was the management of all media. So which is the film industry, the TV industry, the radio industry, and then the events industry.
Got it. Okay.
So my major was all that, and at Columbia College, I think that in the late 80s, I was like 87, 88, like 88 around there, from 88 to 92 was probably my classmates. A huge group of people came out of there.
Okay.
That today, you got George Tillman, Robert. Those are the guys that produced a lot of big award-winning, films. You got a lot of the guys that are that were with us back then are right now today are in the media. They're in Channel 44, 66. Other filmmakers, music. So that was a really good year at Columbia College. When I was there, we had a great time, and we learned a lot about culture. And we brought in, I was part of the first group to do a Latino alliance there. That we brought in the Latino group together. So we, since an early age, I've been doing events. That was my passion.
Right.
Doing events, exposing the culture. So when it came to do the Colombian Fest, after doing many years of everybody else's festivals, that's when we decided, okay, it's time to have our own, because there was a hiatus for 7 years that there wasn't anything Colombian
Okay.
for the city.
All right. And so Elvis, now you became a Chicago police officer. Take me to the day before you joined. What made you say enough of this? You mentioned like time to step it up a level, right? What was it like joining the force?
Well, it was 2 days. Some of my friends, we always talk about this grammar school something I always wanted to become, actually.
Okay.
Get into law enforcement and stuff like that. But, you know, growing up as a teenager, you know, we always got stopped. You know how it is.
Sure.
You know, it was back. So one of my things I remember saying is like, well, I'm enjoying, but hopefully to change it, you know, to have a different, approach people differently. 'Cause especially when you're from the neighborhood, I think you're better off knowing how the streets are. And,
I completely agree.
you know, you see, you know, who the characters are and who are not the characters. Because, you know, they're, you know, the typical stereotype that how everybody, just because you look a certain way,
Sure.
you fall in the category, which if you're from the neighborhood, you know who's who.
Right.
So then, so eventually I went to the Marines. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna go to the Marines because I need to get education. Because back then the requirements was at least 2 years of college.
Okay.
So to pay for it, it's like, you know, go to military, do my college, get the GI Bill. But the goal was that once I got out the military, I was gonna be about 24, 25. I was gonna have at least my associates already. So the goal when I went to the military was I'm gonna get my 2 years of college while I'm in the military.
Okay.
So I didn't want to get distracted by that, even though it was pretty hard, because I was in Okinawa. I did a year at Guantanamo.
Okay, hold on. Let's put a flag in the conversation right there. You're Colombiano in Japan.
Yes.
What was that like?
It was pretty good. It was fun. Because I started doing promoting myself as a DJ. So I started doing Latin nights in Okinawa at the campus.
All right. See?
So it just started, you know.
That Ortega blood, man, it's everywhere. I like that.
I would send Elvis. He would call. He goes, "Send me the music. What's playing over there?"
Right.
And you know, back then, you know, the only way to send stuff was like, "Oh, you make a cassette."
Yes.
You know,
Yep.
we would. The cassettes were still around. We would send Elvis cassettes of like, you know, the stuff that was playing here.
Okay. He's DJing Latin music in Japan.
Yes, and mostly on the bases though, you know, the military
Sure,
bases
right.
over there. But yeah, like I said, because it comes from the family, that whole music and always wanting to come the weekend, like, okay, where's the party at?
Right.
So then being in Japan at certain bases, I was like, man, you know, and there was always a lot of Latinos too. You know, you go there from different parts of the U.S.
Sure.
And you're like, oh, where you from? Oh, okay, cool. Connecting. So they just started DJing over there. You know, went by DJ Colombia was my name over
DJ
there.
Colombia.
So
You know I gotta write that down, right?
yeah, it was pretty cool. And I was surprised too, because in Japan there was a lot back in that time there was a group called Orquesta de la Luz. So it was a Japanese band that played salsa.
This is the 90s.
90s,
Okay,
yes.
all right.
I was in from 95 to 99. So in Japan, it was surprising. Yeah, they were into a lot of the salsa music over there too.
Okay.
In Japan, which was cool.
Okay.
Seeing that, right? Because especially when I went to Tokyo, we were there for a little bit, and then you hear the Japanese. Most of them spoke Japanese and Spanish. I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Because I think at that time too, I think the president of Peru, I think was Japanese, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was.
Interesting. I gotta look that up.
Yeah, because there was.
Yeah, I think that
yeah,
Fuji.
there was a lot of Japanese immigrants to South America.
South America,
Right.
yeah.
Bolivia.
So yeah, it was pretty cool. It was pretty interesting to see that though.
Okay. And you never lost that focus of, so you got your college?
Yes,
Or,
I did my college.
got your,
it was rough, you know,
educated, yeah.
in the military. You
Yeah.
know, everybody wanted to go out. You know.
Yeah, I'm glad you bring that up, because that's another aspect that I don't think a lot of people know about. You know, when you join the military, you are a small fish in a big pond kind of thing, and you meet people from all over the country, like you said. You know, you get to know people, you build relationships, and you forge bonds and everything like that. And that time of going out, we call it liberty in the Navy, but like, you know, that
Yeah.
time of going out, hanging out on the base, something like that, that's really the only time you get to like socialize and be cool and have those interactions with people. That's important. That's important though. I'm glad you shared that with us. What was Guantanamo in Cuba?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been there. They got big iguanas.
Yeah.
Iguanas like dogs. Huge iguanas. What was it like when you were there?
It was after the big influx of immigration they had with the Asians, I think.
Okay.
So So we kind of had to wind it down. Of course, it's way before the September 11th, the 9/11. So
Sure.
of course it wasn't. Cause that's that Guantanamo changed totally after that.
Okay.
But before then, it was pretty quiet though. But you couldn't leave the base.
Right.
And then I always remember the movie with Jack Nicholson. You could see the Cubans looking at you.
A Few Good Men.
A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
So, and it's true though.
I sit and eat lunch with 5,000 Cubans ready to kill me, or whatever he said in that movie.
Yeah. But it's true though. You go on one side of the base, and then there's the line where you can't the fence line. And then of course you got the towers, and you look at the watchtowers. Like you can see.
Right.
They have their towers on their side, and we're on our side. And then the cool thing, at night you could hear the music coming from the city.
Oh wow.
So you hear the Spanish music hearing, and then me, I would just sit out there and just listen to it. Like, man, I would love to go over there,
Right.
the other side, but it was cool there. And then there, still DJing, started something there small.
Okay.
There was a lot of Jamaicans on the base too.
Oh right.
So got the reggae in there. Back then, the reggae gold CDs were coming out.
Okay, so now it's no more cassettes. Now this is CD time.
CD time.
Man, we still back in the day. We still taking it back.
Walked around with the big book CDs.
Yeah, I remember that. Yep, with the pages and all that. Yeah, yep. That was the show-off collection.
Yeah.
Because I used to have like the CD covers in there, so you could see alphabetized and everything. Yeah, man. Good times.
It was good. It was like I said. I think the experience of military, for one, the discipline was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
The structure of taking care of yourself was good, and then and seeing different things, because you grow up in the neighborhood, you see certain things only, and then when you go out like that, you get to meet different people from different states.
Right.
I didn't know what dip was.
Oh, tobacco.
Tobacco
Yeah.
chew.
Right.
Don't see it too much in the neighborhood where we're growing up.
In the black neighborhood in my days, you did. Yeah, like all the old schoolers. It was Beach Nut and Red Man, the big package with the big. Oh yeah, just. Oh God, I grew up around spit cups.
Big gum.
I remember that. Yeah, yep, the big chew.
The big chew.
Yeah, I remember that too.
But yeah, that was pretty. It was like all that stuff was a good experience, especially coming back. And as soon as I left in '99, that's pretty much I got ready to take the police exam and went from there.
Okay, was it easy?
The police exam?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it's a lot of this basic knowledge and stuff back
Right.
then. Because back then it was based off your test score, so if you scored high, you were in. So it's not a lottery like the way it is now. Now it's all mostly you take the test, you pass, but you're in the lottery system. You're not scored ranked.
Yeah, after the military, I took the test for the Department of Corrections, and it was like I think kind of what you mentioned, like a point system and all that. Like I did good on all the physical parts and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't make it because at the time, I didn't have a degree and all that kind of stuff. So someone who did have a degree in law enforcement got more points than I did. I didn't miss the test by much, though. Looking back, though, I'm kind of glad that I didn't get the job working for DLC.
I applied for there too. I didn't get called, which I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, look, right? When you look back on it now, because my mentality and everything is I wouldn't want to work at like Menard or something like that. You know what I mean? So I'm actually glad that life turned out for me a little bit better. I got a job at a hospital after I failed that test, so that was good. All right. Now, El Gran Festival Colombiano. When did it start? How did it start? What was the genesis of that? The beginning. What was the day? Again, take me to the day before it started.
Okay. The story goes. Well, this is the way it was a very humble experience how we started. When I had worked with another organization, Colombian organization, that they were doing a picnic. They did a Colombian picnic for many, many years.
Okay.
And then they stopped doing it for about 7 years. Okay, so in 2000, after those years, I did a lot of festivals and all that stuff. So what we did was on this, what year was that? 2000, the first picnic. So we did a picnic, at the Forest Preserve. This was 2 years from the official start of the festival. So you're looking at 2013, 14 around there?
Yeah.
So between 2013, 2014, we did a picnic for my birthday. My birthday falls on that same weekend as the Colombian Independence.
Okay.
So what we did was that we did a picnic, and we did it more of a sound system style of in Barranquilla. It's the Pico culture. That's a whole nother interview to talk about.
All right.
Colombia.
All right, we'll do a part 2. I hope we can get that part 2, my brother.
Sound system culture was based on the Jamaican sound system culture, but the Colombian culture took it to a different level
Right.
with art, music, and record playing. So at this time, we brought out a sound system out there, took the permit. We had a permit for a couple hundred people, and this was right when Facebook was just starting out. Nobody knew what the hell was going on. So we did a little post, hey, we're gonna have a picnic. We invited all our friends and family, and then the first picnic, I was playing records, and we had all these people show up, more than what we expected.
Okay.
So that was.
And there was a permit for only so many people.
Yeah.
So, okay, so this.
We received the permit. So the following year we did it again, and then we got another permit for more people. And that year we took over the whole Grove, Irving Park in Cumberland.
Okay.
They rent you the groves,
Yeah.
Okay, I got a grove here, and the parking fits, I don't know how many hundreds of cars.
Mm-hmm.
So that day, we took the entire grove. I mean, the whole, like, they had like 7 groves. We packed all the 7 groves.
Yeah, for those familiar with the for those familiar with the park district the forest reserve that you're talking about, you really got to understand like how the layout is, what he's talking about with the groves. Yeah,
Yeah,
so that space is taken now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's various groves in this huge acreage of land, and we brought out there, and we were DJing, and that's when I first brought back the vinyl records.
Mm-hmm.
And I was buying records here and there, but majority of the collection that we play is my dad's collection.
Okay.
It's my dad's collection, that he's had for 30-something years.
Okay.
Stored in our house. So we started playing those records again. So that's how it started. So the following year in 2015, we moved it and put it as a festival, which was at Caprenices Center on Milwaukee and Lawrence in the parking lot of the Caprenices Center.
Okay.
I think the capacity was like 2,500, less than 2,000 people.
Okay.
We packed the place. We brought in a stage. We brought one of the first groups that we brought was Gaiteros de San Jacinto, a folkloric group, Grammy-nominated group. That was one of the first groups that we brought.
Okay.
It was a success. People loved it. And we celebrated the first Independence Festival celebration, that one, 2015.
Okay.
And then it kept growing from there. We did 2 years in that parking lot. We outgrew it. We went to Calvin Park in Hermosa. I went back to where I went to high school with, and we decided to partner up with the Park District at Calvin Park, and we did 3 years there. A very successful festival.
Okay.
Very cultural. We brought. We're the only festival here in the United States, because there's various Colombian festival celebrations throughout in the biggest markets where there's Colombian. So in 2018, we ended up. There was an organization that they looked at all the festivals, all the Colombian festivals in the United States, and we got on the top 15.
Big achievement.
So, and then when I talked to the girl, they came out, they looked, it was based on programming, cultural significance,
Mm-hmm.
Quality, and you know, community. So we actually ended up being number 2 that year in 2018. Houston was number 1. They had the biggest attendance, huge artists. And then in 2019, our last event that we did before COVID, we were like number 1 in the nation.
Real quick. How did it feel to find out you're number 1 in the nation from what started as a party as your birthday?
No, like I mean, again, it felt great, and it was like it pays off. Like, you know, I think a lot of people don't understand. Like, you know, this is a passion for us. It's a business. We understand the business, but we take it a step further. You know, we take care of the festival because it has a lot more meaning than just a regular business.
Gotcha.
You know, and that's what we instilled in the festival from day one. You know, it's like it's family. You know, and you know we thank God all our patrons that support us over the years. You know, there's people that line up. There's this group of ladies that they line up. The fence, you know, where's the fence? The gate's still closed.
Mm-hmm.
They always want to be the first ones at the fest, so they always show up 2 hours before everybody.
Right.
And this group of ladies been supporting us since day one. So that and then too, we have a responsibility now. You know, not just as a business, but the festival itself is not ours. Like, you know, my brother knows, we tell people this all the time. This festival is not ours, even though we produce it, but it's not really ours anymore. You know, it belongs to the community. You know, it belongs to Chicago. We get people from, you know, as you've seen, I just got a call from Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Yep.
You know, that they want to come to this fest. So it's an important festival. It's one of the few cultural festivals that you have in the Midwest. We bring music from Colombia, from different regions of Colombia. So this festival unites people. That was our first mission. Let's unite everybody. You know, this festival's always been about unity. It's always been about family. The same values that my parents instilled in us, that's what we have at the festival. That's what makes this festival a difference. You know, people who know us, who see us, they see the passion. You know, I don't have to explain that to anybody.
Right.
They already know. We're people of few words. We're action. Everything we do is action. You know, so the festival is here for the people, and the people want it. You know, and the people tell us, "Hey, you're gonna do the festival this year," you know, and people are looking forward to it because, you know, we've been locked up for a year and a half.
Right.
You know, and in that year and a half, we lost so many people. You know, so this year the festival, you know, we're dedicating it to all those people that we lost, you know, for COVID, and then all the unrest in Colombia, you know, and all the unrest in the United States. We lost a lot of people. You know, we lost a lot of people to violence. We lost a lot of people to COVID. In our own family, we lost 4 people in less than a year. We lost my dad on July 1st, a year ago. We lost our grandmother not too long ago. And we lost 2 close friends of the family that have been with us for over 30 years. You know, so, you know, it's an honor, and it becomes an obligation, you know, to produce the event, you know, because it's the only opportunity that you're gonna get this summer,
Right.
to experience a Latin music fest like this. I mean, there's only gonna be three Latin festivals in the whole city this year. You know, that's us on July 24th, 25th.
Right.
You have 2 smaller fraction festivals, one in Pilsen and the other on Division Street. You have on Saturday they're going to open up the parade, and then Fiesta Boricua in September, and then the Puerto Rican Festival coming back at the end of September. That's
Right.
it. You know, normally you had 10 or 12 Latino events going on throughout the city.
Right.
Now you're down to 4. So we got to take advantage of that, you know. And that was what we're honoring at the festival this year. It's become, it's personal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been with other people, oh, it's a business, whatever. I says, yeah, it's a business. But at the same time, it's personal because we have so much invested in it, not money-wise.
Right.
You know, we're talking about the time that we put into it,
The people.
the passion.
Tell us about Colombian Independence. What's the year Colombia gained its independence? Talk about that for a little bit.
Well, I mean, Colombian Independence falls on July 20th.
Okay.
And that's the day, the traditional day we celebrate our independence.
From Spain.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So the celebration, I think that, you know, historically, you know, it's been presented, but I think for what this year means a little bit more, what you know we're asking and what we're doing is to unite the people, unite our Colombian people, and unite everybody in the United States. You know, we had a very turbulent, you know, era that we came into in Colombia in the last 2 months. You know, so
Kind of still going on too,
still
right?
going on.
Right.
So we, you know, we understand that, and that's why we feel that this event unites everybody, and shows the world that hey, we can be united, and we can fight, and stand up strong for you know, for justice and love each other in peace. So that's something that personally, that's what I see the event. You know, when we move forward to do it, you know, that was one of the things that, hey, you know, when things go in this country, America, you know, we've had a lot of bad stuff happen here.
Sure.
You know, 9/11, you had all the wars, and we always step up. You know, the American way's always been that way. And in Colombia, the same thing. Hey, we're gonna step up and get united, take care of what we got to take care of, and move on and make it better.
Tell us about the shirt you're wearing.
Oh, the shirt. I don't know if you want to see. It's a little big. I don't know if you can get it.
I can get that. Yeah.
Yeah, this was a custom shirt made for me. Well, for us, there's a couple of them. And then this will go. This character is a carnival character. This is a carnival character, which is one of the characters we use at the festival. That's a guy.
Right.
It's a Congo. It's called the Congo Grande. And the Congo Grande is a traditional comparsa. Comparsa is a dance troupe that dance inside the Carnival de Barranquilla. One of the second biggest carnival in the world is the Carnival de Barranquilla, where we were born.
Now,
where we were from.
real quick, that's where, for those who are kind of familiar with it in American style, when we hear, oh, there's a carnival and all these places, that's where it came from, right?
Yeah.
Is that, all right, so that's the actual carnival. That's,
Yeah.
Okay.
There's in studying about carnival, I've always been fascinated about that.
okay.
And as a young age, I always wanted to learn more about it, right? And we experienced it as when we were young. And my dad he would go every year in his vacation, we always take vacation at that time. So our family always been involved in carnival, one way or another for years. So my dad would always take his vacation in February or March. So because, you know, he never wanted to miss being in Barranquilla in carnival. So that energy of carnival spirit has always been in our family. So that transcended to us. So when we started the festival, in order for us to honor that tradition of our folks and our people in Barranquilla, the costumes, the culture, we decided to do which is today is called Gran Parada, the Great Parade. So we have a parade inside the festival. We parade inside the festival grounds in full Carnival costume, and we end up on the stage, and we do a big spectacle. So we have a cultural spectacle as honoring the culture of Barranquilla, it's Carnival. Our people are very, very happy people, very party people, and we bring everybody into the party. You go to Barranquilla, no matter what race, where you're from, and you go into a street party, the next guy's gonna offer you a drink.
Right.
You know, and that's the spirit of Barranquilla. It welcomes everybody. The same thing with the fest. We wanted to bring those traditions, those values. We welcome everybody.
All right. Now, let's talk food.
Okay. Food, I mean, food is very important, right? You know,
I agree.
In our culture. As an immigrant to, you know, from Colombia, one of the things that, like Elvis had said, when we grew up, and you had mentioned, you know, my mom. So my mom would cook our traditional, like, weekend meal is called a sancocho. A sancocho is a stew, a soup. And my mom has this pot that, I mean, as far as I remember, that pot has been with us since when I got here.
Yeah, since way back.
So I mean, that's got to be like 30-something years.
I forgot the spoon that goes with it.
And then there's a spoon.
Yeah.
There's a spoon that my mom, she had this guy. I forgot who it was, but I don't know if you remember. There was a company called Echo.
Yes, I do.
It was, I think, on Pulaski and Diversey around there. They
Mm-hmm.
had a factory there. They were producing these steel before the Chinese stuff. You know,
Right, yeah.
American-made steel utensils.
I remember, yes.
And this utensil is long, you know, with the cup to
Mhm.
pick up the soup. My mom had it engraved with her name on it. So nobody takes it. You know what I'm saying? So it's been with us for another 30 plus years. So the stew and our tradition is like, that's what we had, you know, sometimes my mom would make it on Friday. And that's what we would eat the whole weekend. And my dad had my dad was a supero sancochero. That was religious in our family. I mean, to this day, I can't remember a weekend that we didn't have sancocho in our house. So people would come over the weekend, that's what you had. You offered the people. We brought this tradition to the festival, which was really cool, and I think, you know, people were talking about it back in Colombia. It was the first festival, right? So the first festival, the groups that we had at the festival, we invited them to our house on Monday. So whoever stayed, you know, like the artists that left on Tuesday or whatever, the people that stayed over. So we had a lot of our main headliners as to welcome them, you know, like a welcome, but as a gratitude to thank them and to make them feel a little bit like Colombia. Say, hey, come to our house. You know, so our house, you know, we call it the compound. It's the Ortega compound.
Mm-hmm.
So we started, since we had this tradition of the soup, you know, and the soup it had yuca, plátano, you know, the green bananas,
Ooh.
you know,
Carrots,
the
corn.
carrots, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it would be beef, you know, the beef shank,
Right.
bone, white bone, you know, neck bone, you know,
Yeah.
all that stuff. You know, it gets in a pot, cooks for hours, and it's delicious. Sometimes it'll be trifatica, which is you know, be like beef, chicken, and pork. And then sometimes just be chicken, or sometimes just be fish. You know, fish heads.
Yeah.
Fish heads and tails.
There's not. I listened to you talk about this. Anyone who's black or from the diaspora, look, there's the names and the language is just a little bit different, but this has a lot of similarities. Similarities with the African diaspora, Afro-Latin, a lot of similarities. I've had fish head soup when I was a kid. A little bit different. Yes.
Well, the thing, I mean, I remember doing the research and talking to the old people, is that, you know, the stew is a symbolism, right? If you take it as a symbolism, what the stew was, it was when the slaves, you know, got to their quarters, you know, the big house,
right,
you know, got all the good meat. They you know, so far good meat, they didn't know what they were missing.
Yeah.
You know, they got the cleaner cuts,
the big juicy pork chops, all that. Yeah.
But then you got, you know, when it came to the beef, you know, the bone, the
neck bone, not a lot of meat.
You know, the neck bones,
Yep.
the bones, you know, the foot.
Yep.
The hoofs.
The hoof. Yeah.
My dad was a big fan of throwing a cow hoof in the soup. He would go buy it salted. They have them salted at the grocery stores. So that was part of it, you know. So that's part of our culture as Afro-Colombians and Afro-Caribbeans and throughout the diaspora. It's the same thing that happened here, you know, and like our food in the coastal town of Colombia, majority, you know, we're the darker skinned Colombians, and in the Pacific side. So, you know, those are the stuff that, you know, you didn't get the fillet on the fish.
No.
What did you get?
The
heads.
Yeah.
And that's where to me the heads. My dad taught me, he's like, and my mom, all the essence of the soup, of fish head soup, is the head.
Man,
you know,
this is good history. I'm telling you, this right here is what you're mentioning. Yeah. This is beautiful history. It is beautiful history.
Yeah,
my dad was.
Food is, like you said, food is a part of our life, and we bring that to our lives every day. So we make this tradition. After the festival, we do a big stew, and artists come. There was an artist that they called me. He was on Instagram or something like that. That the artist said, "I want to go back to Chicago to go get some soup from the Ortega."
Sancocho.
And that's how one other artist got to the festival, because they were at a carnival fest in Barranquilla. He shared that note with an artist, and he says, "You gotta go." This it was Velasquez. That old accordion player, big master. We brought him in 2016, was it?
Yeah, it was one of the first.
16, one of the second artists that we brought. He was at the Carnival playing in Barranquilla to like 70,000 people. You know, it was all these artists. They were in the artist trailer, and he talked to Checo Acosta, which is a younger artist from Barranquilla, from Soledad, that we brought years later. And that's why I heard the backstory, because this was told to me, and they sent me the video. Somebody recorded him, Velasquez telling Acosta, Checo Acosta, "Man, you gotta go to Chicago, man. It's a wonderful festival. But the best thing, going to the Ortega house to have soup." You know, so
beautiful.
You know, the artist, you know, the guy was on tour for a month.
Yeah.
You know, you're out of the country, out of your homeland for a month. And when he seen that soup, we brought the whole musicians. Everybody took pictures at our house in our backyard. Man, they ate that like it was, you know, when you put a big bowl of soup with everything, man, they loved it, because they haven't had Colombian food in a month.
Right.
Because they were on the road.
Yeah. Can you, Elvis, if you could you hold up that flyer for us so people can see that? Because I do want to go through a little bit. Can you tell us, Jorge, about the who we got on there? We see some names. Charlie Cardona, Javier Vasquez. Who are these people?
Okay, you have the lineup this year. We have Oscar De Leon, who we had booked. He's been booked since 2019, but due to the pandemic, you know, we brought him back. We had a commitment with him, and he's a very honorable guy. He honored the commitment, and he's headlining our show on Sunday. Oscar De Leon is a salsa legend from Venezuela. Nelson Velasquez is vallenato It's a vallenato Colombian folkloric music.
Okay.
And we actually brought his dad. His dad was the one that came. Aníbal Velázquez came in 2016.
Nice.
Charlie Cardona and Javier Vasquez, legends of salsa singers from Cali, Colombia. They sang with Nietzsche, Grupo Nietzsche. Javier also formed Son de Cali. And we have Kevin Flores, which is from Cartagena. He is urban champeta artist. I can go into champeta in a little bit.
I think we might need like 4 separate interviews,
Yeah,
yo.
so-
Cause y'all brothers right now.
El Sate
Yeah.
is what they call popular music in Colombia.
Okay.
So it's a like a country style mariachi rancho type of music.
Mhm.
Vocals with guitars, and accordion singer. And then we have a host of other people. Nessie, we always have a young reggaeton artist at
Okay.
the time. Nessie, we brought her aboard. She's from Puerto Rico, and she's the one who sang the song with Bad Bunny, Yo Perreo Sola. Big song with
Okay.
Bad Bunny, like 400 million, some crazy amount of views. Young girl singing,
It's good, Elvis.
trap and reggaeton. So that,
Anthony too is the
and then Anthony used to be with La Máquinas Merengue.
Okay.
Ega Joel is another Puerto Rican salsa, and locally, we also have the Sonora Dinamita, and also locally we support a lot of the local bands. We have Lucho Morales, Fiesta Vallenata. You have Monica Respeto. She was a big Colombian artist too. She lives here in Chicago now. We got another youngster that we support, Chris Little. He is an urban artist from the Pacific area of Chicago. So that
Colombia.
from Colombia.
I was about to say the Pacific area, Chicago. About to walk.
Sorry.
Montrose Beach, what you talking about? He's that dude right there playing by the rocks.
Yeah. These are the others. So yeah, so we have we have always had that feel of music. We try to have, salsa, vallenato, cumbia, reggaeton, champeta, merengue. So we bring all of those flavors from the Caribbean and Colombia. In 2019, we had the honor of bringing Johnny Ventura, who hasn't been. He's from Dominican Republic, big singer, big legend. Hasn't been in Chicago in 25 years, and we brought him in 2019 with headlining Grupo Nietzsche, which they just won a Grammy
Okay.
this past year.
Shouts out, man. Shouts out.
And then also in 2018, we brought the legend of salsa, the bad boy of salsa, what they call him in Malo, Willie Colon, closed out. in
Willie
2000.
Colon?
Yeah, he
Old
closed-
school.
Old school.
Fania Records.
Fania, that's right.
Oh, man. What?
He closed out in 2018. So this year we got closing out is Oscar de Leon, and also on Saturday closing out these two legends of salsa, Charlie and Javi.
Man, Fania Records. My favorite Fania artist was Rafi Pagan. That was, I think he was on Fania.
Yeah, he was on a.
Yeah, man. They made a movie about that, right? There was a Fania movie, wasn't there? About Fania Records or something?
Yeah. No, the Pagan. I think they did a documentary about him. I'm not sure if it's out, but there was a movie because he did that song. Man, I got the record now. It's on the tip of my tongue now. It was an English and salsa song.
Interesting.
Also the one with Mark Anthony with Gente La Voz, based off of
Hector Lavoe.
Gente La Voz.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think we.
But also, was it 2018? We brought on Suku All Stars from Africa.
Suko All Stars.
Yeah. Suku's music. As you know, Suku's music is real popular in the Caribbean a which criolla, our local champeta, which is based off of some of those rhythms from sucus. So it's a sucus mixed with the local Colombian Cartagena, Barranquilla
Okay.
flavor. So we made our own form of sucus music, which we call champeta criolla.
Okay.
And we brought artists of that caliber, of the fathers of champeta and the kings of champeta. We brought was Charlie King, Abelardo Torres from Annie Swing, and what we did in that year, we mixed the champeta of the youth with the traditional sucus music from Africa, Congolese music.
Right.
So it was an honor, and we worked with Mateo from Old Town School of Folk Music to bring that collaboration to the festival. So we had the first time in a Colombian festival anywhere, you had an African sucus Congolese group, huge group. I mean, it was like, how many guys were like 15? It was a band. And all these guys were all stars.
Right.
Everybody in that band played with all the big cats. The reason we brought it in is as part of our tradition that in my dad's collection, he had music from Africa that he would bring back from Colombia on his Carnival trips, and he would buy the vinyl, bring it back home, and play it at our record player at our house. So I'm talking about when I searched for these records and I looked at the date, there was a record in there of Suku's music from 1983.
Damn.
I didn't know we had these records until like years later when I started digging through the crates again.
Yeah. Digging through the crates.
Digging through my dad's collection up in the attic. And we would play those records through Christmas and stuff.
Right.
And I started digging. I'm like, whoa, man, they play it. I didn't know we had that record. So there's in our festival, there's 5 or 6 records, vinyls that we always play. We've been playing them since day one, and they're gonna get those are probably the only times you hear those records here in Chicago. And half of those records are Suku's music and Haitian, and there's a record from Haiti. There's a Haitian band.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Homenayas a los Embajadores. Los Embajadores was a big band, marching band style band from Haiti from 1981, the record.
Holy cow.
I play that record. That's our anthem.
That's what we call it.
Dang.
That's our anthem, and that's a 10-minute record.
Because that's how, the instrumentalism and all that used to, like, the songs were long.
Yeah.
Long songs. Yeah, this isn't like nowadays people think, like, 3 minutes, it's a song, that's it. No, this was people, and not pushing buttons making those sounds, playing the instrument.
Yeah, you have the guitar sound.
Yep. All right, a couple more questions before we end. I'd like to know from you guys. Let's start with you. What's something the world needs more of?
As soon as you said like a song came to my head. Love.
What was the song? Love?
Yeah, I think there's too much negativity that goes on here.
Okay.
All you see, like a lot of times in social media, and there's always more negative portrayed, right? It's, even in the media too, on the news. The first usually 5-10 minutes of the news at night, it's always about violence. And it's like I know there is violence, but there's a lot of good that happens too. So, but of course we know good stuff usually don't sell when it comes to media. So, always got to be something negative. So to me, it's more positivity, music, but also with music too. Music, you gotta be careful because some music is negative too. As we know, it's like some music now is not even positive. It's just, is there violence depending on what you're listening to? Even in reggaeton too, it's just all about it's all stuff portraying
The wrong stuff.
The wrong stuff.
Yeah, I have an 8-year-old, and it's crazy because I feel like I'm turning into like my parents now. You know what I mean? Like I can't let my son hear this garbage, what they're talking about. It's like, still kind of young. I get my, sometimes I clean the house. I want to hear a little rap, but like, it's very little these days. I can't do it. I cannot. You can't play this garbage what they're talking about, and it bothers me because like, you see these young kids, and they want to do new music and they want to do stuff like that. But like, how can you be 19 years old with this filth? You know what I mean? And it is kind of, it's upsetting. I'm at the point now in my life where I like seeing kids play instruments, like play the piano or something. Play something with no lyrics, because like you can't even trust the lyrics that you're listening to. And I just don't. I don't like that. I think the time of hip hop portraying what may have been going on, I think that's kind of past now. You know what I mean? It's like there's still things that youngsters can talk about, but unfortunately, like we can't keep perpetrating the same kind of thing. Jorge, same question to you. What's something that the world needs more of?
Well, I think, we need more compassion. I think compassion, understanding, and love, and I think that, being with all the stuff that, happened, I think this year's been more, the whole thing being locked up. I remember when I got COVID. And we had just lost my dad, and it was a very stressful and emotional time, and then to come and see, all this stuff happening, on the screen, all the violence that erupted, from the movements, and also, all that negativity, right? And I think that, there was some hope, and I think hope is something that we cannot lose. When the darkest time, I remember, seeing that the ravage of what happened in the neighborhood. I went back to the store that got looted.
In your neighborhood in Chicago?
Yeah, down the street from, and we were working with these pastors, and I think that's what we stepped up, because we weren't doing nothing as a company, at the time. We were trying to. There was nothing for us to do, and I think that, those values that were brought into us, we were put into a situation that they called on us, right? They need help. It was a moment that there was people that couldn't get any food. I never seen this in this country, bro. We're, 30 years or whatever, 40 years, I never seen, like when we were working the food line, we were working the food distribution, that I would see regular people, asking for a handout.
That never asked for a handout before.
Never. I had, and there was people, families in need. It was a horrible time here in Chicago and all over the United States.
Yeah.
We lived through a whole dark period. And then, to see that again in my own country, the violence and the injustice, we have to, I'm a person that I believe in justice, and it's hard to see what went on. But, it was hope. I always had hope, because my mom always instilled that in us. There's always that candle lit, in our house. So compassion, understanding, and hope is what got us through, in faith.
Right.
No matter what denomination you are, what you believe in, but, faith has a lot to do with it, So I think that that's what we need, and that's what got me through the dark time that we had, with everything going on. And, we stepped up, I met a lot of people, really nice people, that, you know, that we were helping, giving out food. People came together. I mean, we had organizations throughout the city, the churches. A lot of people don't see this in the news because they don't know the backstory.
Right. That's
You know,
well, that's to Elvis's point.
You know, they seen the looting, they seen this, they seen that, but nobody focused on, you know, okay, we had all this stuff going on, but nobody took the time to come out to a food drive. Who organized the food drive? Who organized the, you know, the activities? You know, a lot of the churches stepped up. You know, we worked with a lot of pastors to like, hey, this, you know, and I see all these people that stepped up, you know, they were unsung heroes, bro, you know, in the neighborhood. You know, right after the riots, bro, you know, you're talking about we couldn't find food in the neighborhood. If you remember, there was no stores open. Walmart closed, the food pantry closed, all of these stores were closed. You can, for 2 weeks, there was no food in the west side.
The same thing happened here on a smaller scale, though, too. Like the Family Dollar got looted. It's still burnt out and everything like that. El Hueto was closed, all that.
You know, so
Like, what was people going to do the next day? You know what I'm saying?
You know, I mean, it was unfortunate that, you know, that some people took advantage of the situation.
Sure.
You know, and, you know, Chicago's always been historically, you know, we've had a few riots, you know, over the years, and, you know.
The anniversary of the Division Street riot just passed, I think. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of history here. You know, that's a whole different interview about.
Hey, yo, that's part 5 right there.
but you know, like, again, you know, we're working with, we keep working with other non-for-profit organizations, other organizations to, you know, to help out. So that's, you know, we're a social responsible promoter. That no other promoters does that.
The show ends on a positive note. What is your message today for the people of Chicago? And we'll start with you, and then Elvis, you'll get the last word.
I think that, you know, we're coming to the, what they say, the end of the tunnel. We see the light.
Right.
With this pandemic. And I just want to thank everybody who's helped out on all of this stuff with the food pantries and helping other people. I think we got to continue that. Let's stay together. Let's stay focused. Stay positive. Peace and love, and we will get through as a city together, as a one big family.
Elvis, same question. What's your message today for the people of Chicago?
People in Chicago, well, pretty much message, not everybody's, especially that word's blue, is not the enemy, right? There's a lot of things going on portraying that certain people are bad, you know, everybody's out to get you, and it's not even like that. So to me, it's like if everybody has the understanding, respect each other, right? You gotta give respect to get respect, as they say. So as long as everybody's respectful, and I think not being so negative, be joyful, and just come together, music, barbecues, and all that stuff's happening again. It's always a good time. But just respect each other, respect our neighbor, right?
Right.
And there's no need to be, be considerate, you know, when you're out hanging out, right? Especially in the neighborhoods, there's no need to, you know, take over the whole street if you don't have to, right?
Right.
You know, there's always, everybody has backyards to go to and hang out with.
Right.
So.
Keep the peace in our neighborhoods,
In our neighborhood, and like I said, there's no better to come together and have a good time than the Colombian Fest.
On behalf of Good Morning Aurora, we want to say thank you very much to the Ortega brothers for their time, coming in, letting us know about El Gran Festival Colombiano. Again, that's July 24th and 25th in Humboldt Park, specifically Division and Mozart. You guys have the flyer, www.colombianfestchicago.com for more information. And to piggyback off what these brothers said, what we're trying to do with the show, for those who've been following our show since we started, positive. That's it. Keep the positive vibes, and we will all continue to grow and thrive as people. I hope that all of you listeners and viewers out there have a blessed, positive day, and peace to the city of Chicago. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.